What's up, everybody? My name is Nick, and I'm here with an F1 Manager 24 livery video. I posted my 3 favorite liveries to Reddit a few days ago, and a lot of you seemed to think that I should make a YouTube video about designing liveries. And by a lot of you, I mean exactly one dude. So, I thought that I would make this video sort of just discussing how I make liveries in the game and what you guys can do to improve your own if you think that my liveries are good enough to get improvement from. So let's go. So starting off, when I make a livery, the first thing I always do is to think of a backstory for my team and of course think of a name and a logo. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. Obviously, you have a lot to choose from in the game from the get-go, but I just went with my story today, and I will be doing Coda Grand Prix, which is an American car company that I discovered a few weeks ago. It's pretty small, and that's another thing you're going to have to think about when you're designing your livery too, is you're going to want to think of how expensive and luxurious is this brand or this team, and you want to make your livery go along with that. You know, you don't want something over the top filled with bright colors for a midfield team. And then as for the engine, it doesn't matter, so I'll just pick Honda because Honda is a very prevalent brand in America, which is where the team is based. And yeah, so I would like if Frontier would add engine badging, but you know what, maybe in a future update. So I already created the logo that I'm going to be using for this team, which is this one right here. Sorry about that. There are my other ones as well. This one right here, it's pretty simple, just using all of the basic stuff that you get right with the game. No mods, obviously, because I'm on console. So yeah, let me just do the team colors and everything to match the logo, and we can get started on the fun stuff. Now, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to play on this save, but I'll set it up just like that, just in case I do. So I'll be John Coda, I suppose. Don't know if that's a real person, but there we go. And yeah, that's fine. I'll just keep it all like that. So yeah, here we go. Obviously, right when you get in, you can't immediately design the livery. You have to wait for the sponsor event, which in this case will be good because I'm going to be using the sponsors that we get, but usually, you know, it just makes a lot more sense to design your livery before you get fully into it. But here we are, and I am going to be starting with the livery. I'll do the driver's suit after. The first step, of course, is to choose a pattern, and actually, I really like that one, so I think I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to use this one. And obviously just going to set the main colors, which will be metallic, just as a nice silver base, and yeah, I think that'll give us a lot to work with. My second color, I'm going to go carbon fiber here. And my last one, I think I'm going to do a darker gray, which will just give us a lot more of variance for what we can do with our logos, our sponsor logos, and our team logo, because you want a light color and a dark color, and then maybe something in between, and that will allow you to do a lot when it comes to logos. And also you see me just doing the wheel covers here. They just add a little bit of extra flavor. Sometimes it doesn't work because carbon fiber is the main color, but in this case it does. So I think I'm going to start with the side of the car first. Now, as for the main sponsor across the side, what I always do is I look at my team logo and I see if it's more wide than it is tall. And if it's more wide than it is tall, unlike the Coda logo, then I'll put it on the side pod, and if not, then I'll put it somewhere else. So since I have a wider title sponsor, I will put that on the side pod instead of my team logo. And obviously a lot to do with designing is just tweaking little tiny movements, the color slightly, and all about that. That looks a little too small, so I think I'm going to make it just a bit bigger and some other tweaks. Maybe rotate it just a little bit here. It's a bit tough with all the controls on console. I wish it was a bit more seamless, but that's okay. And yeah, so just rotate it a bit until it fits, and there you go. You want it to be nice and big on the side pod, and here's where I usually put the sponsors that are taller than they are wide, like the Coda logo. It just doesn't fit nicely on the side pod, so I'll put it on the engine cover. You saw that on the BMW livery that I did earlier as well. That just fits a lot nicer. And yeah, so as for the other sponsors, this one's pretty simple. I always do something nice and thin and short and wide for the front bit here, and I think that always flows very nicely and fits neatly between the lines of the car and the suspension. So and back here, this sponsor is just kind of in the middle here. I do wish you could add more sponsors than they give you slots for. I think that would be cool, because then you could really make it realistic. But working with what we have here, the livery design, or the pattern, works very nicely, where I can just sneak this right in there and it fits very nicely. So that is obviously a huge plus about this particular design, but obviously every design has its own lines and curves. And actually, I think I'm going to make this black, and we'll see how that looks. I like that a lot more. I think that that gives it a nice sleek vibe, which I am going for very sleek with this livery design. I'm not going to make it flashy or anything, and I think that works pretty well. Just don't mind me having a stroke with the controls here. So yeah, as for this little area here, sometimes what I'll do for this one is get a bold but small logo to fit in, sort of like this one. But you can also, what's great about this, even though you can't add more slots, is that you can move it wherever you want on your car. So as long as it's on the side in this case. So I could have the energy drink logo here, which does look fine, but I think there are a lot better places for it on the side of our car. So I'm gonna move it around and just see where I think would look good. Ideally, this is where the engine badge would be, either here or by the number, but unfortunately we don't have that. I could also go up here by the engine cover right next to my team logo. I don't think that would work on this particular design, but that's okay. And the last thing is obviously what I was saying right at the very middle of the engine cover. Let's actually see how that would look real quick, because maybe if it looks nice, we might keep it there and leave that little bit down at the bottom blank. Ooh, yeah, actually I like that. That's nice. And then this part down here on the floor, I believe, it is the perfect spot to put your the sponsor of your racing like apparel. That's what I always do. So you know, they're all at the bottom here. And I think for this one, I'm gonna go with Vela, because I think the yellow looks really nice with the black and silver that we have going on with the car. And I just think that the way those sponsors are designed, this is the perfect spot for a racing apparel and suit company logo to go. So there's the side of the car. I think it looks pretty good, in my opinion. You guys will have to let me know down in the comments. But yeah, so next up we'll do the top bit here, including the halo, which for the halo, I just put whatever logo I have on the side pod. and I choose that as the main logo for the car. However, I actually could see on this one how you could fit the Coda logo in here in the halo. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be wider than it is tall here, because the halo has that little arm coming down, meeting the nose bit. So, yeah, you can really do whatever you want on the halo. I just prefer to keep it the same as the side pod because I think that is the most realistic. Like, obviously, Red Bull has Oracle on their side pod, and the Halo 2, I believe. So here we have a very small slot, and I don't usually know what to do here. So I'll just stick one of the bolder looking logos like AVD or MMOX here. I think both of them look pretty good. We do have another logo that I didn't fit onto the side pod, which was the Slingshot Fuel logo. So I might end up switching that to there, but we'll see. The only problem with not being able to add your own slots is that you won't have enough room on every side of your car to fit all of your logos, and I think that's really annoying. I hope that they change that in a future update. Here is the same logo that I did on the little gray bit on the side pod, or on the engine cover. I really like this logo, the Henrik manufacturing logo. I think it's very nice. I tried it in black here. I didn't necessarily like the black. I think the white stands out better, as you can see by the number. Plus, generally, if your color is not super light, I would go with a white logo just to match your number, because I think it flows a bit better. And obviously white works with any logo very well. You can see me here just putting on the MMOX logo that I had on that little small part of the halo. I do end up changing both it and that part on the halo to the Slingshot Fuel, but that's just a small thing. You can obviously mix and match whatever sponsors you want. And onto the rear wing now. I really like also doing whatever sponsor or logo is on the side pod and the halo. I usually put that on the rear wing and on the front wing as well, which you'll see in a few minutes. But right now here you can see me just searching for the Slingshot Fuels logo. I do think they could make the logos a bit larger, or at least add a name for what logo you've selected, because I think right now, obviously on consoles especially, it's very difficult to see what logo you're selecting, especially for someone like me who's pretty blind. But you know, that's that. Maybe I'll make another video ranting about all of the things I want to see added. But yeah, here I'm going to add the what is it called, APTRD logo, and I'll make it black just to make it kind of stand out from the lighter silver on the rear wing. And then of course on the side, the side is where you can fit the taller logos. So in this case, is where we can put our Coda team logo, because it is, again, a lot taller than it is wide, and it doesn't fit very nicely on the main plane of the rear wing. So, you know what, that's actually another, you know what, I'll save it for another video, but I would like it if you could have multiple logos, multiple custom logos on your car. That would be pretty nice. And here it's already selected as APTRD. I'll just make that black. Again, I really like how this particular pattern of livery has that white block right there. I think that's very nice. It reminds me of the Ferrari, how it has the white, I think, with the HP on it. Even though I hate the HP design on the Ferrari, but the actual block to make it a different color is very nice. And yeah, so now I'm going to move on to the front wing. Now, as for the front wing here, There is a lot of sponsor slots in such a small area, so I am going to spread them all out. But for the first thing, again, like I said, I'm just going to include the title sponsor of the team on the sort of main plane of the front wing, and I think that looks very nice. Again, I keep reiterating this, but when you have a nice fitting team logo, you can obviously put that there. And yeah, so I think that looks pretty good. And then for some reason it jumps all the way back up to the near the connector piece where the front wing connects to the chassis, which is a bit strange, but I think they should put them in order of, where they are so that you're not jumping around. But hey, that's just me. I'll keep the Raka Energy sponsor here. I'll just make it a bit smaller so that it doesn't overflow across the sides of the main thing of the front wing, which is another thing you can worry about, or you can think about, is that you want everything to fit nice and neatly into the area of the car that you're designing. You don't want overflowing, you don't want it getting cut off, because in the game, obviously, they have this weird system where anything that isn't, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it just cuts off random sponsor logos every once in a while. So just be mindful of that and keep it within the same plane is what I would say, on the same face of the car that you're designing. So yeah, I'm just going through here and I'm looking through all of the sponsors. I do again like to put Vela, the suit designer company, near the tip of the nose, and then obviously at the very tip of the nose if possible. And this is where having a taller logo comes in handy. You can fit it right on the nose like a lot of the real teams have. Obviously Williams has a very nice W on the front of theirs, and I sort of like to replicate that, but again, it's up to you. And that's where having multiple logos would come in handy, of course, but it is not to be, apparently, until hopefully a patch in the future. And here's our cryptocurrency sponsor. Obviously, the realistic thing to do would be not to overlap sponsor types. So, you don't want two cryptocurrency sponsors, you don't want two energy drink sponsors, or two fuel sponsors, whatever. So that's generally what I like to do. I'll do one sponsor of each, not genre, but like division. And here on the side, a lot of times I can't get a logo to fit like properly in the end plate on the wing, but the Coda logo is very nice and tall and thick, and it fits very nicely on the front wing, so that is nice. Up here, it's a very weird thing to be included on the front wing part of the livery, but that's just how it is. I would include it on the top, but hey. Again, I just like putting the racing apparel sponsor. I think that always looks the best. And as for the very tip of the front wing here, a lot of times, you don't see multiple sponsors down here, but for the sake of this video, I will, because I think I can make it work, and that's the most important thing. Again, obviously highlighting here with Abeos, or however you pronounce that. I'm American, I don't know. It shows that there's really a lack of sponsor slots to make everything fit nicely. So you can see me here just trying the serpent logo up at the top. Sometimes it works at the top, most times it doesn't because of that weird bump. So I'll just stick it down at the bottom here. But yeah, that's one thing I don't like, is how few sponsor slots there are, because you can't fit every single sponsor that you get in your sponsor package, which I think is a bit sad, but that's besides the point here. So you'll just have to mix and match what sponsors you like and cut out whatever one you think is the ugliest. There's one logo I absolutely hate. I think it's the Bad Turtle logo, it's called. It's so ugly and so thick, and it's pretty impossible to get it to work on a car and make it look realistic. Obviously, it's a game, you don't need to make it look realistic, but still, I like to. And here I'm just putting the Henrik logo because I think it's the furthest away from this point on the nose, so you don't want two identical logos right next to each other. Obviously, when you do it for symmetry, like on the front wing, that's fine, but you don't want them one on top of the other. It just looks a little not great. So anyways, there we go. There is the livery completed. I saved it there. And yeah, next I'm going to be doing the driver's suits, something quick and easy, nothing fancy. Maybe I'll do an extra video on driver's suits, or I'll just include it here. But yeah, another thing I'd like is for them to include like Pirelli logos, so you can stick it on the nose like a lot of teams have in real life. But there we are. There is my Coda Grand Prix logo, or car with the logo. And I think it turned out really well. I think this is one of my favorites. I think I would definitely run a livery similar to this. I like how stealthy it is. I like how just sort of chill and laid back. It looks like a very sleek midfield machine, which is obviously what I was going for. Yeah, so that's that part of the video. Now we can move on to the driver's suits. So the last part of the video that I'm going to be doing today is the driver's suits. Now the driver's suit is a lot less interesting than the car itself, in my opinion. I'm sure some people out there will love the driver's suits more than the car, but I am not one of them. So I'm going to start by just making the colors the same as the car. So a nice black to match the carbon fiber. And I'll do a dark gray and a white as well. Now, I typically keep my driver suit designs pretty much the same across the board. I match the colors for the team and with the helmet as well. And I generally stick to the same formula because I much prefer creating the cars instead of the driver suits. So, because my cars, I think, are a lot cooler, but that's okay. I'm better at designing cars, but still. So here you can see that I'm just going to be going through all the sponsor slots. Typically, this middle thing, this middle slot, I would put the sponsor or team logo that's on the side pod of the car, which is what I'm doing here with the APTRD. And you want it to be nice and big, in my opinion, and have it fill the pretty much from the left to the right side of the driver's suit, just so you get it nice and filled in. And then the top left, if again you have one of those logos that does not fit in the middle, you put it in the top left. I see that a lot on the real team kits for the actual F1 teams. And then beneath you can do your secondary and all that sponsors. It's not very interesting. You just move them around until you find a spot that you think fits nice. The key to this really is proper spacing, which I absolutely do not do in this video. So sorry about that. It's all crammed together on the front here. I do a bit better on the back, but yeah, so you can see the I'm just putting the serpent logo on the right chest, just to give it a little balancing. Obviously, some people will prefer to keep the right side clear or the left side clear. In retrospect, I think that's what I should have done on this one. I think it just looks a lot cleaner and it matches the aesthetic of our car. But alas, you live and learn, I guess. I'm by no means a professional designer when it comes to car liveries. I think I'm pretty good. I've gotten pretty good over the years, but certainly not fantastic. I remember the F1 2020 when that first came out, and I would spend quite a lot of time on the livery editor in that game as well. But obviously it's nothing compared to this. This absolutely trounces it out of the water. You'll notice me putting on the Vela stickers. Again, I um, keep to a pretty simple formula with them. I put them in the same spot um, each time I make a driver's suit. I don't usually come out of my comfort zone too often with the driver's suit because you'll see the car a lot more often than you'll see the drivers. Um, but still, it is a nice bit of immersion that I'm sure at least someone out there will appreciate. So yeah, I'm just going to speed through the rest of this time lapse here, and you can figure it out for yourself as to where I place everything, because I don't want to make this video be too long because I was just talking about the car and now I'm divulging into the driver's suit. And all right, guys, just like that, we have the completed team outfits and the car as well. I think it turned out pretty fantastic. Um, again, I say I'm not a professional designer, but I take pride in these little car liveries that I make on the stupid little F1 game in my free time. So yeah, I hope you guys like this one as much as I do. Obviously, you can go back to the beginning, check out the 3 other liveries that I've designed so far. And honestly, I think this is the best out of all of them. But obviously, as with anything, please leave your ideas and thoughts in the comments below. I'm pretty excited to hear what everybody has to say about this one, how it compares to my other ones that I obviously posted. So hopefully some of you guys from that Reddit post came here to check it out. And maybe if I do some more livery videos, then you guys will stick around and we can build a nice little community here. But yeah, that's all. If you have any suggestions for me, any questions, or any ideas for future liveries, maybe we can do like a little livery challenge series. That would be kind of fun if anybody made it this far in the video. So with that, I'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching my first ever YouTube video, and I'll catch you guys around.